You are listening to Peak One Sports.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for listening to this episode of the Sports Page on the Peak One Sports Network. I'm Ashton and Chris. Sitting with me here, as always, Chris Robb. What's going on, Chris?
Oh, what's up? Nothing much. How you doing?
Man, I'm a little peed off. I don't know. I can say it, but I'm not going to. But Facebook is just pissing me off right now.
Oh man, I hadn't even been on there.
Well,
I
have.
I know how it is.
No,
Yeah.
I have, and I can't. Okay, the reason I'm pissed about it, Facebook itself, not people on Facebook. I've been blocked from posting, sharing, liking, messaging, all that jazz since Friday. I haven't been able to do anything, and I don't know why. It says a security problem on my phone, which I've looked at, and it sounds like, I don't know, a device that I was on could have had malware or something like that. This is from research. It's not from anyone saying anything. Then my messenger says I can't use messenger for 19,000 plus days, which doesn't make any sense. Like 50 something years. But I've never shared anything controversial. I keep political issues to myself. I mostly sports. And I'm very professional about that because of all this stuff. And family stuff. So I don't know if I've gone against community standards or what, but
It's got to be a mistake somewhere, right?
yeah, I've done research, and it tells me go here and look, and it'll show you where you've had red flags or whatever. And I've gone there, and there's a few of them, but none of them recent, and it's all been we're redacted. We're sorry, this does not go against community standards or whatever. I didn't even know about it at the time. But this is my first time ever being. If I am in Facebook jail, I don't know. It could be that it's protecting itself because I've just been using one computer for Facebook, which is a work computer that has all kinds of protections, and then my phone. And so honestly, I don't know. But the main problem is nobody will get back with me. I found a couple emails for Facebook to reach out to. And then when it says you can't post right now for whatever, and then I hit report and put whatever, it tells me, this is like, if you think this is wrong, let us know. And I do it, and it says it cannot send report.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so very
that's
frustrating.
weird.
Yeah, I don't care if Facebook comes back and lets me know, yeah, you're banned for 3 days because you did this, which wouldn't make any sense to me, but I'm like, okay, great. I know. I have no idea if I can log into my account. I can get on there. I can see everything. I just can't post, share, message. And I've had people messaging me. I'm like, I can't reply. And like, Facebook should give me the option just to send a generic message. Like I've been blocked or banned or something.
Yeah. And you can't like post at all?
No. I've been trying like every few hours, just sharing posts, and then it tells me I can't. So, which is weird because Facebook being Meta, my Instagram's just fine. I can post on that. My Threads account is just fine. I can
I was
post
about to say
on that.
it should shut down everything if that's the case.
Yeah, so I don't know. Luckily, people like yourself and Tony and other people have access to our Peak One Facebook, so we've still been rolling things out on that front. So no worries there. But if you follow me on Facebook, go ahead and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, whichever accounts you use, just so you can see me post if you're interested in hearing what I have to say.
Wow.
Which
free
I
Ashton,
assume you do. Yeah, free hashtag free Ashton. I assume you want to know what I have to say because you're listening to the show. Probably. But it's probably a good thing I couldn't post yesterday. We're recording right now Monday, because the Cowboys didn't do all so great. You called it.
Yeah.
Your last, we put it on there on one of our last reels was you talking about you don't trust the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
You're not, after the last few years, it's going to take a lot for you to feel good about this Cowboys team. And
Yep.
you were
Yeah.
talking about this game, the Cardinals game.
Yeah. I was. Yeah. I just kind of had a feeling. I almost bet on it. I'm not sure if I said that last show, but I almost bet on the Cardinals, just because I was like, I'm not. I feel a little too high. Let me just calm myself down a little bit. And
Yeah.
they went out and you know laid an egg, and
Very
it was like,
reminiscent of the Denver Broncos game a couple of years ago.
yeah, and when they were down 30 at one point that year.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was just like a guaranteed win. The Cowboys were doing so
Mm-hmm.
good, just like they were this year. The Broncos were doing
Mm-hmm.
bad, like the Cardinals were this year. Um, but a lot of people said, well, the one thing they have for going for them is their run game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
turns out that's what really came to bite them in the ass.
Yeah.
Let me find it a little behind here. Arizona 222 rushing yards in that game
Oh
to
man.
this
Yeah.
dominant, or what we thought was a dominant defense.
Yeah. And I was thinking, like, they lost Trayvon Diggs, and that's a huge loss. But 222 yard, that's more front seven stuff. That's more like,
Yeah.
something went wrong. And, I'm not sure what it was. Maybe it was like a scheme. Maybe they didn't scheme correctly, or maybe they just flat out just got outplayed. That's what it looked like to me. It just looked like the Cowboys they just got outplayed.
Offense looked okay.
Hmm.
Outside of that first drive and outside of red zone plays, the offense looked okay. Um, Dak was very efficient. But then again, when we get down to the red zone, they just can't finish. And of course,
Yeah.
he threw the
Yeah.
interception at the end of the game, but
Yeah.
um, that's whatever. But they looked okay for most of the game. Like we've been saying, the offense just needs to be efficient enough, not turn the ball over, which they didn't up until the last point. And the defense can carry this team, but the problem is the defense wasn't. And the offense looked like they could have, brought this team back up there in the end. I watched all the way until he threw that interception. Whereas
Hmm.
this is a good defense. Just get the touchdown, and that would bring you within, what, they lose by 12, so that would brought you within 5 points. 4 or
Yeah.
5. Yeah, there'd be no reason to go for 2. Um, and then I guess I would have trusted the defense to get a stop. I mean, more often than not they would have, but they throw the interception. But some of these offensive numbers, Pollard had 122 yards rushing, Dak threw for 249,
Yeah.
Gallup 6
It
for
was.
92. Gallup finally woke up.
Yeah, I was about to say, I forgot about him for a second, but yeah, they, it's just, I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't get the team. I don't really, I try to believe. I really do. I really do try to believe, but it's just, I don't really know. I have no idea. But that loss from Diggs was huge, and maybe they were just kind of reeling from that. That's a big loss 3 days before. That's probably your what, second best, third best defensive player, and
Yeah.
maybe I don't know. I'm just not sure.
Well, I think uh, we mentioned that it could be a trap game. I've heard
Hmm.
on more than one occasion from these players on the Cowboys that uh, them mention week 5, which would be the 49ers game. I think
Yeah,
maybe they just looked too far ahead.
probably so.
And
It was gonna be like the battle of the undefeateds at that point.
yeah.
Yeah, they probably did.
And hopefully, I mean, they'll be favored against the Patriots, and I think they'll take care of business, especially coming off this loss, a very disappointing loss. It
Hmm.
was uh, their biggest, let's see how to word this, the biggest they were favored by in a loss in 17 years, because
Oh
it
wow,
was a 17
wow.
point favorite. And then, oh man, I can't remember the other one. It was the rushing yards they gave up in the first half, which is, I think, 120 something maybe.
The
But I know
most.
it was the most they've given up in the first half, rushing yards in the first half in 30 something years, since 1991.
Oh man,
So 32
wow.
years.
That's actually a surprising stat. I feel like one of those years they probably would have got outrushed. But yeah, no, that's just how it is to be a Cowboys fan and just how it is to cover the Cowboys. You just never know. And I have no clue on how who's gonna win. Sunday. Um,
I
it'll
mean,
be
I wouldn't pick the
yeah,
Patriots. The Cowboys are a better
yeah.
team. You would
They're a
hope they're
better
going to
team.
learn from this. They're going to be like, oh crap, we're not
Yeah, we're
indestructible.
not
Let's stop
invincible.
looking
Yeah.
forward. Yeah.
Yeah. I
But I
think
no, I like your thing. You almost bet it on the Cardinals. That's kind of a theory I have that I never follow through with. Is just bet against
mhm.
my team, and either way, I'll be happy. I'll win a bunch of money, or my team will win.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I never even thought about that. Yeah, I usually never bet on the Cowboys unless it's just like, one of my friends is a fan of the other team or, things like that. Then, that's all fun and stuff. But, um, yeah, I'm probably gonna start doing that just because, you just never know. And I, this definitely wasn't one of the games I had them losing, before the season because I had them going. I think I had them winning 11 games or 12 games or something like that. But this definitely wasn't one of them. So they're gonna have to get it back, later on in the year, or else my prediction
Yeah,
is trash.
I
But
think expectations were definitely raised after those first 2 weeks.
oh yeah, definitely,
But
yeah,
if they can get a win on Sunday, going into the San Francisco game, 3-1 record, I
it's
think.
good.
Yeah, going back, I mean, before you knew Aaron Rodgers was going to be out, if you said they would go 3-1 these first 4 games, I think you take it because it's never a give me
Definitely,
with the Giants, even though they've won like 100 games in a row with Dak
yeah.
Prescott
12
against
of
the
the
Giants.
last, yeah, something
Yeah,
like.
it's been ridiculous with Dak Prescott, and um, you still a rivalry game. You never count that out. And then you expected the Jets are a pretty decent team when Zach Wilson's not their quarterback. They're really good defense.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you would expect to beat New England and uh, Arizona.
hmm
But I mean, we all knew they weren't going to go 17-0.
hmm
They have to lose somewhere, and learn from your mistakes, and hopefully they can get past this. New England's not going to be. I mean, you lost this game. They were outcoached. They were outplayed in a lot of areas, but they were
Definitely,
outcoached. They did
definitely.
not expect the Cardinals to do what they did. They probably thought they were going to go more the air, knowing that Diggs was going to be out, and they
hmm
blindsided them. Whatever the strategy they thought they were going to have. So, moving to New England, you have one of the greatest coaches of all time, and Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
So, kind of
and
the
you
same
never
thing.
really beat the Patriots. I don't think. When was the last time they beat the Patriots?
They
I feel
beat
like it's
them
been.
a couple of
Yeah,
years
they beat them
ago.
recently. Yeah, but it was like before. Yeah, whenever they had Tom Brady, it was like 20 years or something like
Yeah,
that.
they
Something
never beat
crazy.
him with Tom Brady. They just
Yeah,
beat Tom Brady in the playoffs. That was the first time they
in the
beat him.
playoffs.
So they
Yeah.
had, I think they had Jones, Mac Jones. Yeah, last time they beat him,
hmm
that was in that overtime game.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So luckily it's here. It's not New England. I feel like they've always had trouble winning in New England. There's always bad weather.
Yeah.
It's always cold or
hmm
something. But uh,
Yeah.
hopefully they can get the job done this Sunday. Get back on track. Uh, because it's not like they just had a bad defensive game. That was just terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. And what did James Conner end up having?
I don't know.
Uh,
I know they had
oh, he had 98,
222.
but everyone, it was like spread out.
I
Josh
should know.
Dobbs,
I had Connor on my fantasy team.
yeah, Josh Dobbs, 55 yards. Uh, yeah, so yeah, you can't give up 55 yards to Josh Dobbs.
And Dobbs is
98, he
kind
almost
of
had
like the
100.
Cowboys' kryptonite a little bit. Uh, Playing I
Oh
mean, they beat him
yeah.
last year when he played with the Titans, but
hmm
that was one of the games where they just thought they were going to roll and win. Um,
Yeah.
and I think they won pretty handily, but it was very nerve wracking for a while because they played really bad. And Dobbs
hmm
was just kind of, I don't know, maybe getting in their head a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he probably has a number. He went what? He says 17 for 21, 189, and then 55 yards rushing. That's a pretty good game for a backup. That's a pretty good game.
And before we move on to baseball, let's talk about our sponsor real quick, Betalytics. The Betalytics dashboards allow you to quickly identify top graded best bets and hottest trends. Use promo code PEAK1 for 25% off when you sign up today. Go to Betalytics.com to start betting smarter. Yeah, go to Betalytics. Don't listen to us about betting against your favorite team. Although it seems like sound logic. You might not win money, but there's going to be a silver lining there. The silver lining for us, it seems to be when the Rangers are doing bad, the Cowboys are good, and vice versa, thank God. So baseball, it happens every day. So we're actually going to post this episode early. We usually post on Wednesdays. We're going to post this tomorrow on Tuesday. So what we're talking about is still going to be pretty relative. I don't want the Rangers to lose 2 games and everything good we say about them go away. But it could not have gone better for the Rangers this weekend in terms of outcomes of games. I know, I think it was last night. Yeah, they were up 7-2, and they nearly gave that game away. But they won. They sweep the Mariners, who they're competing against with the playoff spot right now. And then the Astros get swept by the Royals. The Astros are actually 3-12 in their last 15 games, and in that stretch, that stretch includes 9 games against the Royals and A's, the 2 worst teams in baseball. So you go. I think you went. I know you played the Orioles there, but they went 1-2 against the Royals, 1-2 against the A's. Or 1-2 against the Orioles, and then they get swept by the Royals. So,
that's a tough stretch for them.
Yeah. So as of right now, once you're watching this episode, it'll obviously have changed. But the magic number for the Rangers to win the division right now is 5, and I say it's going to change for sure, no matter what, whether they win or lose, because the Mariners and Astros are playing this this upcoming series.
Yeah, that's a big series too. But no, the Rangers, they did what they had to do. We talked about it. We said there's a huge series, coming up whenever they play Seattle, and they did what they had to do. They got it done, and then just for the Astros to kind of hit a slump just at the right time when the Rangers are kind of hitting their peak, hitting their stride. It's beautiful, man. I'm excited. You said the number is 5, right?
It's 5. So every time the Rangers win, the number goes down, or every time the Mariners and Astros lose until one of them is eliminated, it goes down. So it'll go down to 4 regardless, because the Mariners and Astros will play. The Rangers play the Angels, so that seems like very winnable games, but same point, they've been swept. They just got swept by the Indians a little bit ago. They're not playing great against bad teams,
like
as
bad
of
teams.
late.
But they're playing up to, well, at least against Seattle, anyways. They're playing up. So and then they got the big series at the end, the 4 games against Seattle.
So with this remaining schedule, the Mariners are back 1 game of the Astros. The Rangers are up 2.5 on the Astros. So the Astros sweep the Mariners, the Rangers clinch a playoff spot. But would you rather them kind of split? One team wins 1, the other team wins 2, and it'll help the Rangers out? That way, if that happens, it doesn't matter what happens to the Rangers. The Rangers will still be in first place after the series is over, even if they get swept.
Yeah, I want that to happen. I kind of want them to kind of clinch early. For entertainment purposes, you would kind of want it to go to the last, down to the last game. But I just want them to get in there, because they haven't been good in a long time, and it's the new park. They got the MLB All-Star game coming next year.
Yeah,
it's like the perfect get good again, and then baseball will finally feel like it's back in Texas. So I definitely want them to get in as soon as possible, but we'll see how everything falls.
Yeah, so if they did split and the Rangers, I mean, obviously could still get eliminated from the playoffs, but So if one of these teams, and then in that scenario, I guess, do you want the Astros to sweep and then you get the Mariners after they've been eliminated
Yeah.
back? There's a lot of different scenarios that could play out here,
Hmm.
but obviously matters what Toronto's doing as well because they have a playoff implications there.
Hmm.
But if you can manage to win the division, you're still a few games up on the Twins out of the Central. So it looks like if you win the division, you get the bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you're
That would
saying
be.
just get into the playoffs right now. You'd
Yeah.
prefer,
I just want them in. I want them in there, but yeah, no, if they can get the bye, yeah, for sure. It's just um I want the I just want them in there, because like I've whenever I was watching the World Series back then, and 2000, like those were like some of the best sports times for me, as far as just them in the World Series, and the Mavs were in the finals, and then that was just like
the
that was
Super
the
Bowl was
best
in
time.
Dallas.
Super Bowls in Dallas, and that's that. Yeah, I wanted to feel like that again, and I feel like they're the only team really in recent memory to have struggled so long. Dallas, the Cowboys, whether they lose in the second round or not, they're pretty consistently in the playoffs. The Mavs are
Yeah, they
consistently in the playoffs, except for last year, but they were just in the West Final. So, we're all just waiting on the Rangers to kind of get back on that, on that
yeah, the
bandwagon.
Cowboys have made it the last 2 years. The Stars were
Hmm.
just in the Western Conference Finals. They're in the
And the
Stanley Cup
Stars, yep.
Finals a few years ago in
Hmm.
2020. So yeah, the Rangers, um, as their momentum carried them, World Series appearances in 2010, 2011, they
Hmm.
made the, I guess technically they made the postseason in 2012. They went. It was that wild card game. It was the play-in
Yeah.
game or whatever with that new
Okay. Oh
what
yeah,
they
yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah.
So technically it was the postseason, and then they
Hmm.
would win the division in 2015 and 2016.
Yeah.
So that little 6, 7 year stretch was pretty good for them, and
Hmm.
then nothing. They hadn't done anything. Been pretty awful. Although not necessarily, just bottom feeders. They were competing in 2017, 2018. If you just look at their front office moves, they were obviously competing. They
Hmm.
weren't tanking. They were buyers at the trade deadline, and really until
Yeah.
I think 2020 was their first year of kind of like, yeah, we suck. We're gonna rebuild. It
Yeah.
just feels like they've been doing it a long time because all of their moves haven't really worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah. I'm excited though. I'm definitely you know excited for them. Excited for. I'm still excited for the Cowboys, even though they laid an egg on Sunday. But
I mean,
overall, all of my sports teams are doing fairly well. And
the
then
Cowboys
Texas,
don't
obviously.
typically. Yeah, we'll talk about Texas in a second. Cowboys don't typically play games like that multiple weeks in a row.
Yeah, yeah, I was thinking that too. So I would think they would go in and get a win on Sunday. They rarely play two bad games in a row. Um, Dak usually bounces back pretty well as a quarterback. So, we'll see.
And then, yeah, of course, Texas beats Baylor. I unfortunately did not get to see it. We were at Six Flags again,
Oh yeah, I
making
watched
it
it.
worth those season passes. So,
Oh yeah, how
but I was
was it?
following it close. Fright Fest. I liked it. My son got his first crack at a haunted house,
Okay.
being 10. He does not like them now. And then my 5 year old. So my brother-in-law
Yeah.
came with us, and then their cousin and his kids happened to be there the same day too. So we kind of met up and
Hmm.
did a lot of stuff together. So we get through the haunted houses or whatever. He's kind of traumatized a little bit, but we go back to the big group hanging out. And I'm
Yeah.
trying to take my youngest, or both my son, yeah, both my sons, and then whatever you want to call it. It's my wife's cousin's daughter who's about
Hmm.
5. My
Hmm.
We call her my niece or whatever, but
Yeah.
so I'm taking them over to like a teacup ride, and like these monsters are coming and trying to scare them and scaring the crap out of them. Which, like, come on, read the room. They're children. They're like little kids screaming, climbing on me.
That's
And then
hilarious.
I'm like, okay, they're gone, they're gone. And then because the lady walked off, but then she started coming right back. I'm like, come on,
Hmm.
come on. I know
Yeah,
they're an easy
you gotta let
scare.
them live at that point. Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, Longhorns did not disappoint. They got the blowout win
Hmm.
over the Bears, the Baylor Bears.
Hmm.
So pretty good for Texas. They're 4-0 now. I know they were 3-0 last week for the first time since 2012.
2012. Yeah. Hmm.
I don't know if they started 4-0 in 2012 or not. I'm trying to see here who Texas plays this weekend. They have Kansas.
They played Kansas. Yeah, a ranked team, ranked
Yeah,
Kansas.
going to be a little bit of a challenge. Kansas is pretty
Yeah.
good. I don't know about a
Yeah.
challenge, but you can't sleep on them.
Yeah. That's gonna be a pretty good game. Kansas, they're exciting. I watched a little bit of their game this past weekend. They're exciting, and Kansas. They've been off and on. They're either really good or really really bad, and they're really good again. So it's gonna be an exciting game. Texas. This could be. I don't want to call it a trap game because they have OU the next week, but um, it could be a good tune-up game for the OU game. So definitely excited to see that.
Yeah, they just need to take care of business. I mean, I kind of felt that way against Wyoming
Hmm.
with a slow start, and they kind of let it drag on a little bit too long, but they ended up getting a pretty good win. When you just
Hmm.
go back and look at the scoreboard, it was a good win, especially
Yeah,
since Wyoming had just beaten Texas Tech
Texas Tech.
a
Yeah.
couple of weeks before. So you thought Wyoming was a decent opponent. But yeah, Oklahoma's kind of just that one game. I mean, obviously you have to worry about upsets, but it seems like
Hmm.
Oklahoma's the only thing standing in your way.
Yeah.
TCU's kind of having a down year. There's not a lot of Big 12 teams that are ranked.
Yeah.
Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma.
I think it's only three. Yeah, I was just looking. I think it's only three.
Um,
Um.
I don't know their whole schedule. They don't play everybody obviously because there's 14 teams in the Big 12 now.
Hmm. Let me see.
Um, but Oklahoma's got to be. I mean, Texas Tech. I mean, outside of Oklahoma, everything would be a pretty big upset if Texas lost.
So they have Houston, BYU, Kansas State, TCU, Iowa State, and Texas Tech. So um
I'm not gonna be arrogant and say
Houston,
they should win. I mean, they should win
I
all
was
of
about to
those
say,
games,
I
but
was about to say they should win if they get past OU, which I think they will. I think they should. They'll win that one pretty. Well, it'll be close. It'll be closer. It'll be closer than last year for sure. 49-0. It won't be that. Um, but I think they should win, and they should probably win out at that point if they don't, do the whole Texas thing that they always do and kind of just drop
yeah,
one to Kansas State or the Iowa State or something like that.
yeah. No, at this point, um, you could probably afford to lose a couple of games and still make the Big 12 championship. But outside of maybe losing a close game to Oklahoma and winning out, you might still make the playoff.
Yeah,
Considering that it's pretty top heavy with juggernauts. There's not a lot of teams at this point. It looks like that can just run to those spots. I mean, considering Georgia's the only SEC team in the top five.
hmm
Alabama's having a down year. Where's Ole Miss at? Ole
yeah.
Miss might be in the top
Ole Miss
10.
20. They're
20th.
20.
Oh.
Oh no 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 no
Oh
no.
no. Ole Miss just lost to Alabama. I'm not thinking Ole Miss. Gosh, why can't I think of it? Who am I thinking of?
I know they have 7 teams. I looked. I actually counted them.
In the top 25?
In the
Yeah,
top
yeah, but
25.
most of
Yeah,
them are like
they have
Tennessee,
LSU.
Missouri, LSU, Alabama.
Missouri's 23rd.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah,
like at the back
Alabama's
back
12th.
of the top 25. Not their
Yeah,
normal 3 out of the top 5. So,
yeah,
I think if Oklahoma continues to do good, that's really the only loss Texas can afford.
that would that
And
they
you
can
would
still
probably
bounce
just
back
play
from it.
Oklahoma again
Yeah,
in the Big 12 championship
yeah,
regardless.
yeah. Ole Miss is
Um,
20, so they have 4 straight teams. They have Ole Miss 20, Tennessee 21, Florida 22,
in
Mizzou
Florida,
23.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah. It seems I'm not gonna say easy, but it seems like Texas just takes care of business. They should
that's
make the
what it seems like.
playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
considering whoever whoever makes the Big 12 championship with Texas, they will more than likely be ranked. So you beat Oklahoma, you can
probably
beat
so.
Kansas, and then assuming no other team of the Big 12 are ranked by the time you play them, that maybe TCU jumps in there, and then
Mhm.
whoever you play in the Big 12 championship. It's a pretty solid schedule, but a schedule they should take care of.
Yeah. Wow, the Big Ten has three out of the top 6. That's crazy.
And they're going to
Interesting.
have USC next year.
And then Pac-12 has four of the top 10. Yep. Man, that's crazy.
And the Big 12 is going to have Utah next year.
Utah, yeah.
But Texas and
Wow.
Oklahoma will be in the SEC.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited though. That's gonna be a good game. I'm yeah. Is it in Lawrence or is it
No,
in
it's in Austin.
Oh, it's in Austin. Okay, yeah. So yeah, they should definitely take care of business.
Guys, thank you for listening to this episode of the Sports Page. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And follow me. Continue to follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on other social media platforms. Maybe by the time this drops, I'll have access back to posting on my Facebook. But until next time, I'm Ashton.
I'm Chris. See you guys.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time.